Hi guys and welcome back to my channel. My name is Madeleine and this is Made With Books, and Victober is almost upon us. And so it's time for my Victober TBR. If you for some reason don't know what Victober is, it is a month-long readathon running in October that is all about Victorian literature, and Victorian literature covers the period of Queen Victoria's life, so from 1837 till 1901, and it is hosted by 4 marvellous booktubers by Katy from Books and Things, Kate from Kate How, Lucy from Lucy the Reader, and Ange from Beyond the Pages, all of whose channels I will link down below, as well as the Goodreads group where the read-alongs for Victober are hosted. So go check them out. If you for some reason are not subscribed to them, change that. As always, all of them have set challenges for Victober, which I'm going to try to fulfill. I should preempt this video though by saying that October is also the time of the Frankfurt Book Fair, and that's the probably busiest time in Germany of the book industry. My work has a booth at the Frankfurt Book Fair that I'm largely responsible for in planning and then also being there while the Frankfurt Book Fair is running. So I will be very busy, especially from the 16th to the 20th of October, but also before that. So I don't know how much reading I will get done during that time, but I will try my best to participate anyhow. But Katie's challenge is to read a book either under 250 pages and or over 500 pages. And because of what I just said, it is obviously very unlikely that I will get to a book that is over 500 pages. However, if I should, it would be Little Dorrit by Charles Dickens. I have started this quite a while ago, and Daniel and I were supposed to be buddy reading it in a sort of serialized read-along in the style of those that Katie has done for our mutual friend, and then she's currently doing for Bleak House, but I think that one is almost finished up. And we did that more or less successfully for a few months and sort of fell off the bandwagon, and then Daniel has read further into the book, but I haven't. I think I got to page 140 or something, and he's a little further along, but I'm sort of blocking his process because the idea is that we talk about it, and so I have to get back into this book so we can chat about it. So if I'm going to attempt to tackle a book that is over 500 pages, this one would be it, and in this edition it, let me see, clocks in at 826 pages, so definitely covers that challenge. However, what is far more likely is that I will read a book under 250 pages. And for this one I have picked one that I meant to read last year for Victober. Obviously I didn't have a channel back then, but I still sort of participated from the sidelines, and one that I didn't get to was At the Back of the North Wind by George MacDonald. George MacDonald is a Scottish author, and this is actually a children's book classic. The North Wind is the literal wind that is a character in the story, and she is personified as a lovely and mysterious woman, both severe and kind, who teaches young Diamond about herself on their journeys. So Diamond is a character in this book traveling with the North Wind. I was supposed to read this ages ago for a children's fiction seminar during my studies, and I got a fair way in. I got until page 50. You can see sort of my scribbles on in the margins. You can see like little notes. But yeah, for some reason I didn't finish it. Shame on me, I know. But I intend to rectify that finally. So this is my pick for that challenge. Kate How's challenge is to reread a Victorian book. And for that I am going to make use of the group read-alongs. Now there are 2 group read-alongs, and both are for works by Oscar Wilde. And they chose plays, which I really like because those are shorter, and it's kind of a nice variety from reading novels. One play is A Woman of No Importance, and the read-along for that is from the 14th until the 21st of October. Now I'm gonna read it completely on the 21st of October after the book fair is over, because I have that day off. I took it off to, you know, preserve some sanity afterwards. But a play that I haven't read before is The Importance of Being Earnest, and that one is being read from the 1st until the 6th of October. And so I will read that again. By the way, we have two Oscar Wilde editions. This one is Daniel's, this one is mine. Probably will read it from this one. I will reread that, and that will count for that challenge. The next challenge is by Lucy, and it's a really nice one. It's to read an underrated Victorian book published in the same year as your favorite Victorian classic. If you have been on this channel for a while, you might know that my favorite, not only Victorian classic, but book in general, is Wuthering Heights. I actually, for Victober, wore a Wuthering Heights shirt by Emily Bronte, and that was published in 1847. Now, some might argue that I'm semi-cheating with this, but I would say I'm not. Another book that was published in 1847 is Agnes Grey by Anne Bronte. Now obviously this is not known at all or completely forgotten work, by no means, but I would argue that Anne Bronte is the sister of the Brontes that gets the least attention. And even when she does it, the focus might be more on her bigger work, The Tenant of Wilde Hall, which I did read 2 years ago and absolutely loved, but I have yet to read Agnes Grey, and that was published in 1847, from what I can tell. It's a story of a governess, and yes, I am very excited to read it, and I'm gonna sneakily say that this is an underrated Victorian classic. I will pick this one for Lucy's challenge. The next one is Ange's challenge, and that is to read a book by a Victorian female author, and there's a bonus if it's an author that is new to you. Now I am planning to finally read something by Elizabeth Gaskell, which I have never done before. Now I would absolutely love to read North and South by Elizabeth Gaskell, which according to Katys is Pride and Prejudice but with industrialization, and it sounds marvelous. But seeing as it almost has, it has more than 500 pages in this edition, I'm just not very convinced that it's gonna happen. So instead, I'm gonna read The Old Nurse's Story by Elizabeth Gaskell. This is a tiny little black classic from Penguin, and it contains 2 Gothic tales by her. And so I will read something new by a female author, but it will be something tiny. I also plan to read some poetry by Christina Rossetti during the month. She's another female Victorian author that I haven't read anything by, so she would also count. I have other choices that I would love to read, but I don't think they're gonna happen. Lady Audley's Secret by Mary Elizabeth Braddon, and a book that I will haul in another video later on, I guess, because I got it for my birthday, Miss Marjorie Banks by Margaret Oliphant. But again, chunky books, busy October, I just don't think it's going to happen. The final challenge is to read a book, at least partially, by Candlelight. I might do it with The Gothic Tales by Elizabeth Gaskell, just because I think it's kind of fitting with the mood of the tales. Or I will read some poetry by Gerard Manley Hopkins as Kingfisher Catch Fire, or essays by Henry Mayhew of Street Piemen that are little Victorian classics. Those would also work during Candlelight, so I might sneak those in. We have some short story collections as well, and some poetry collections, and Daniel has the Oxford Book of Essays, so I might read some essays or short stories or poetry that is Victorian here and there. There's 2 books though that I definitely want to get to this month, and one is The Warden by Anthony Trollope, which fits the challenge of under 250 pages, since it has just barely over 200 pages. And this is obviously the first part in the Chronicles of Barsetshire. And I know that everybody says The Warden isn't that good, and that Barchester Towers, the second part in the series, is much superior, but obviously I have to start at the beginning. So I will start with this, but go in with low expectations, and we'll see how it goes. And it will actually be my first Anthony Trollope, so I'm very excited about that. I know Katie loves him and just reads one book by him every month this year. So I'm really curious to see what I think. And another one is one that I started last Victober but haven't continued since. It's a very beaten up copy of Far From the Madding Crowd by Thomas Hardy. And this is a story of Bathsheba Everdeen and at least also Farmer Gabriel Oak. I got quite a bit into the book and I really enjoyed it, but I didn't finish it in Victober, and then I don't know, some other books came in the way, but I want to finish it. You can see I'm sort of halfway through the book by the bookmark, a little less. And yes, I really want to find out what happens. So to sum up the books that I definitely want to get to, these are them. And it's The Two Plays by Oscar Wilde, The Importance of Being Earnest and a Woman of No Importance. It's Agnes Grey by Anne Bronte. It's The Old Nurse's Story by Elizabeth Gaskell. At the Back of the North Wind by George MacDonald. The Warden by Anthony Trollope. And Far From the Madding Crowd by Thomas Hardy. If I can get to all of these, I will be a very happy camper. If I can get to more, that will be fantastic. But I don't know. Let's hope for the best. Thank you for sticking with this very rambly Victober TBR. Let me know down below what you're reading for Victober, or if you have a video and I haven't seen it yet. And yeah, thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye guys!